Tune in for everything you need to know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what is going on, Automotive Nation? I'm Jason Harris, and thank you for taking the time to come check out this great pre-NADA conversation where I get to talk to, well, I mean, honestly, anybody and everybody I want to talk to about what it takes to get ready for one of the biggest events in automotive. Guys, we're talking the Super Bowl of conferences, NADA or NADA, I guess, depending on what part of the country you're in. But guys, I have a great guest with me. I'm so excited to talk to this person. She's a good friend and incredibly passionate and knowledge about the automotive industry. I have the one, the only, the oh so famous Katie Mars with me. Katie, how are you?
Oh, I am so good. Thank you for having me, Jason. Our conversations are always so incredible. So thank you for having me.
Look, I have been looking forward to this conversation. Like, I know it's Thursday. I'm like, towards the end of the week, I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, oh, I get to talk to Katie. This is awesome, And I look, I always enjoy our conversations, and I love getting into all things automotive. Katie, we're going to talk a little bit about what dealers should do to kind of get prepped for this monster thing we call NADA. But real quick, before we get into that, I love kicking off these conversations with a little origin story, just so everybody out there kind of knows, how in the world did you get started in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Well, I got started in the industry because I had a series of really awful car buying experiences. So I actually designed guest experiences for some of the world's largest organizations, one being Celebrity Cruises, where I traveled around the world. I trained like 30,000 employees, designed that experience with them, and partnered with and worked alongside with Forbes Travel Guide to bring the 5-star experience or the 5-star rating system to the cruise industry for the very first time. And when I say I know a thing or two about creating a 5-star experience, I really truly do, especially from a place where your customers, your automotive customers, their experience expectation is shaped not by when they purchase a car every 3 to 5 years or 5 to 7 years, depending on the study that you're looking at, but by their everyday experiences. And so I went out to purchase a vehicle and I got treated, I mean, it was less than stellar. I'm just going to put it that way. I couldn't believe that you could get a better experience purchasing a $7 latte than a $70,000 vehicle. And then as a woman, I couldn't believe that we were still in like the Stone Ages of how a woman was treated. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to take what I know and bring it into the industry. And so I started to apply to speak at all the major events. Then I started to consult with all the major OEMs and then individual dealers and dealer groups. And here we are.
It's, you know what? It's been a heck of a ride. And gosh, I'm trying to think about when we first met. Katie, I hate to say it, but I think it's been almost a decade.
Has.
Is that crazy? Is that crazy? Crazy to think? Because I think wasn't that just after when you put the book out?
Yeah.
When we first recorded, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for Custom Her Experience. That was the sort of my coming out book in the automotive space.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Well, all right, Katie. Here's what I want to get into because for a lot of people out there watching and listening right now, they'll probably be going to NADA, and look, there's a lot there, man. There's
so much
education workshops. There's the expo floor. There's just so much. I would love to just kind of start. We'll start super high. Like, what would you say some good tips or tricks, around maybe planning to go to NADA? What advice would you give dealers out there?
Well, I mean, something that I'm sure they all already know, right? Getting clear on what you want to achieve in 2026, knowing what part of your business that you're going to make non-negotiable. Selfishly, I want you to make the customer experience non-negotiable. So I would want you to plan out coming to see me and grabbing a free copy of my new book, 5 Steps to a 5-Star Experience. I'm signing it in a few books and it's not out yet, so it'll be in your hands first. However, I would say, besides getting clear, when you're clear, make the plan. Look at who's going to be there. Give them the time. And network, because especially since COVID, I feel like we just don't leave our virtual office enough. I feel like we don't really do what us humans are supposed to do, and that is connect. So I would say just
Good point.
focus on connecting. Know what you need to accomplish and then focus on connecting.
No, I think that is a great point because yes, I mean, yes, you got the education events, you have the networking opportunities, you have the expo floor. And you know what? One thing you said, and you know me, I love finding rabbit holes, right? The 5-star experience. You know, I'm monster fan of this, have been for a long time, right? And you know, I think for anybody out there watching, listening right now, I think you maybe need to take a moment and just be super honest with yourselves. Maybe look in the mirror, just be super honest. Look at your last 20, look at the last year, the 2025, and just really don't say, did I execute, you know, a 5-star experience? And maybe that's where you want to start because I think you're going to find some places that you might say, maybe I was a 2-star there, maybe I was a 3-star there, and identify those and make a note, write them down. And then I would say go and take a look at the amazing workshops in the educational series. See if some of those speak to those places that you want to maybe improve. You know, go to those, and then I would start working my way back towards the technology that's ultimately going to support that.
Mhm.
I know you work with a lot of people. What aspect of the experience do you find kind of consistently needs to be executed better?
Within the dealership?
Yes.
All of it? No,
I
uh,
don't disagree. I don't disagree. I don't. You're right. You're
I
right.
would say, honestly, it's the basics, and, I think we actually get too caught up on what technological solution that is out there for us, that we've
True.
forgotten the basics of connecting with a human. I
Okay.
believe that technology and process need to be built from 2 different lenses, right? So if it's a process or technology, that is going to help support the back end, the operations of a dealership, then that's a very different build and a very different focus and a very different lens. But
Mhm.
if it's something that is going to be guest facing, unfortunately, a lot of the times we build all processes with ourselves in mind, how it's going
That's
to
a good
make
point.
it easier for us. And we don't often flip that lens and say, well, how does this impact the guest? Now, the guest is the most important thing. And it's not just because of what I do, but the reality is, hands down, you don't have a business without customers.
That's true.
And the competition, I mean, it's stark. You know, there is there is another brand that sells exactly what you sell for the same price with the same leasing and financing rates with, I mean, it's all available online. The only differentiator is truly the human connection. They're still choosing to walk into the dealership to purchase and to service their vehicle. And so what I would say, the number one thing, if you could master something in 2026, I would say you want to master the greet. You want to master, you know, the bookends, the greet and the goodbye of the experience. But most importantly, especially in the service drive, you want to master the wait time. That
Mm.
and communication. Those are going to be the things that really shape the perception that the customer has of you.
Yes.
And so that's what I would say.
Those are great ones. In fact, actually, I got a funny story, Katie. I remember, so you know, one of the first dealerships I worked at. You know, this would have been 99, 2000, something like that. I can't believe I've been in the business for 26 years. That's insane. But I had this manager, and I gotta be honest with you, Katie. I thought this manager was a total a-hole, you know, because like every single day we'd show up and you weren't able to go onto the sales floor unless you could verbatim, all right, repeat the meet and greet back to him. And that was just like, no, seriously, like I don't think people would do this anymore. Remember, that was a little bit of a different time. But right, like if you couldn't do it correctly, he'd send you home. You weren't
Yeah.
allowed to work that day. That was, I don't think they do that anymore. But for the longest time during my career, I thought this person was just a total a-hole. You know what's funny, Katie, is as I got older, I realized, like, wait a second.
No, he's protecting his culture. He's
Oh,
protecting the experience.
exactly. I didn't really, you know what? Maybe he didn't execute it as well as he probably
It can
should have.
always be better, but I mean, I think his intention was there. His intention was there to protect the culture, to protect what he wanted to be known for, and maybe it was the greet, maybe it was that first impression. I mean, gosh, I was researching the first impression actually today, and the first impression, you have 1/10 of a second before people start judging you, and you have a total of 7 seconds before they complete their judgment on you. So that greet, And by the way, greet from everybody, from your receptionist, from a sales associate, from a manager, from a porter, from a service advisor, from anybody. If you work at the dealership, I work off this rule, the 15-5 rule, where if you see somebody, you are to smile warmly. And if they're within 5 feet of you, you are to actually verbally greet them. If you just did that, you would create a really awesome energy within the dealership, which make your guests feel good. And that energy is everything. So I actually think, he might not have executed it right, but at least he was protecting what he believed in.
No, you're right. And like as I got older and eventually owned a couple dealerships myself, I realized that there's some truth and a lot of value in being able to clearly execute consistently the experience that someone is about to have. Right now, maybe I also learned this when I started having kids, and I learned about this thing called front loading. Where you tell them in advance before something happens, but no, you're right. And I love the fact that you're talking about the bookends. So guys, if you're out there watching and listening right now, take a look at 2025, look at your bookends, like Katie is saying, right? Look at the front, look at the back. All right. And just see, because Katie, I'm with you, right? Like the delivery to me is insanely important. I mean, I just bought a $40, $50, $60, $70,000 thing. And I can't tell you how many times I've been in a dealership where I've literally watched a delivery go, here's the keys.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my fiance and I just bought a new Hummer EV Omega. So I think the MSRP on that is like $148,000. And we were handed the keys at night with no walk around and half a charge.
Jeez.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's still out there, right? Like the way, and that's our last impression of that dealership. And I would never recommend the dealership. Kevin's excited because he's got his dream car, and I gave him permission to buy it. He waited till I said it was okay, which, by the way, gentlemen, the female is the most influential consumer. So if you're ignoring her, you are doing yourself a disservice, because she's the one that says whether or not her husband is purchasing the vehicle. But I digress from that. But the experience was awful. And it was his dream car. It was a very expensive purchase. And as I said, he gets a better experience every day at Starbucks for his $7 latte.
You know what? You're not lying. I mean, look, I know there's an Italian place I go to on a regular basis, and I get a better experience for a $40 meal than I do when I buy a $40,000 car. So I'm with you. And by the way, real quick, guys, for everybody out there watching, listening, I know we're getting towards the tail end of our conversation, but I love not only think about the experience just as holistically, but think about the experience in a profile of the different types of customers that are coming in. Do you have families normally coming in, right? Or do you have younger or older people, male and female? You really got to think of the experience and customize that to that audience. And I think you're going to win. Look, Katie, I know we're getting towards the tail end of our conversation today, but real quick, I think there's still a lot to be covered here. And me and you get to jam at NADA.
Yes.
We're going to do a podcast at the Ciro booth. You guys got to come check it out. 6368 is the booth number in the North Hall. All right. Real quick, Katie, for everybody out there watching and listening, would love to connect with you, maybe either at the show or even afterwards. What's the best way to connect with you?
Oh my gosh. Well, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just, friend me up. That's great. Send me a DM. You can email me, katie@nowisnotnegotiable.com, or I'll be at NADA signing some books on the 4th and the 5th at Auto Lot Impact, which is booth 7846 North. And then I will also be signing some books at Digital Dealer System booth at 4631 West, and I'll be at Rockhead, and I'm going to be at Drive Centric. I'm going to be all over the place. So come by, see me, and get a copy because no one else has it yet. I'm so excited.
And I'm looking forward to getting my signed copy. Hey guys, for everybody out there watching, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time to jam this. Make sure that you connect with Katie. She's person and cares so much about the customer experience and journey. Look, one of the biggest compliments you can give us as content creators is to share the show. All right. If you got a manager, a colleague, or a friend that needs to see some portion of today's conversation, it means so much to us when you share the show. Katie, thank you so much for taking the time to jam it today. This has been a blast. For everybody out there watching and listening, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Your host, Jason Harris.